Religious Freedom Summit. That's a beautiful backdrop there. We're going to see the Vice President, J.D. Vance, speaking shortly. As soon as he starts, we will go there live. Also, if you're just joining us today, we'll have a lot of coverage from the White House, both from the press briefing room at 1 o'clock for White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt, and then at 3 o'clock, President Trump will be signing a bill into law in the East Room.
Yes.
And I was thinking earlier today, and I posted this on Truth Social, after everything President Trump has been through and has overcome, he's literally going all out for the American people and the free world.
Yeah, we're seeing that, especially yesterday with the announcement that I think came as a surprise during the press conference with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu regarding that the United States, if necessary, will occupy that Gaza Strip along with Israel in order to bring tourism dollars, to bring new buildings, because as we've seen, generational warfare, President Trump considering helping move the Palestinian population into places like Jordan, Egypt, potentially Saudi Arabia. That'll be very interesting to watch because it's something that President Trump signing earlier, an executive order with more sanctions on Iran. He said he did not want to do it. He wants the Persian culture to prosper there, and it once did before the removal of the Shah and the Iranian Revolution. In fact, I actually have a dear friend who's an Iranian doctor, and his family left during those tumultuous times. So they once did have freedom, and God willing, they do have that again. Even if you have a copy of Time magazine from the 50s, you look at these beautiful pools and people hanging out. It almost looks like Las Vegas. No, it's Iran. And it's the Persian culture on full display. What you see now throughout the Middle East with Sharia law, and a lot of times where women are fully covered, where you can only see their eyes, that's something that's really recent of the ISIS caliphate. This has been something of the last couple of decades, and really something that is not even traditional Arab garb or traditional Islamic garb, religiously speaking as well. So quite an announcement yesterday, and we'll see how that proceeds in the coming days, diplomatically speaking.
Exactly, and if there's any information that is reportable from the White House about Gaza or anything moving forward, we will bring that to you as soon as we see any kind of release, that kind of stuff, over the next 24 to 48 hours, as that announcement made just yesterday. When President Trump said historic speed and historic strength, he was not kidding when he spoke that. I mean, it is pedal to the metal. And again, he went through so much over the past 4 years. He's just going all out, pedal to the metal for the country and for the free world. So it's quite interesting to see that. Let's shift back to the International Religious Freedom Summit. About 9:30, so in a few minutes now, the Vice President will be speaking there. The Vice President out and about a lot, isn't he?
Oh, President Trump is putting him to work because really there are core functions and duties being the first in line of succession to the presidency, one being the president of the Senate. We saw him with the tie-break vote for Pete Hegseth to become the Secretary of Defense. So it was fun. He had shared on True Social, I did not expect to vote again so soon in the Senate, you know, now being a former senator, but he was called in to do that. And then really the Constitution outlines whatever the duties of the president assign. That is what you are bound to do. And President Trump putting him to work, going to East Palestine, Ohio, seeing what's needed to be done there with EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin as well. So J.D. Vance really hitting the ground hard, and I knew he would. It's his energy, it's his youth, it's his experience. What an extraordinary story, being raised by his grandmother in Appalachia, to go ultimately to Yale Law School, and his undergrad, The Ohio State University, which just won that college football championship. But a gentleman who put off college initially in order to serve the Marines after 9/11 occurred, and he is an extraordinary vice president.
100%. Also in Damascus, Virginia, just the other day, on the heels of President Trump's trip to Western North Carolina, on the aftermath, still we're talking about it. Can you believe it? The Hurricane Helene, with all of the things that need to be taken care of there. Obviously, the prior so-called administration dropping the ball big time on the American people, but President Trump picking it up and helping out. So as we get ready to go to the International Religious Freedom Summit, we want to tell you about some great sponsors. including one I don't think anybody has ever heard of, MyPillow.com.
It's the mega sale, and we love Mr. Mike Lindell, all he stands for with free speech, election integrity. Well, you can get a replica now of his cross, which is the My Cross. Save 30%. Always nice to have around your neck to celebrate everything that's truly precious to us and what we truly believe in here at the network, and we know Mr. Lindell does as well. But my towels, flannel sheets, all going for a great price of $29.98, $44.98 respectively. Give them a call over at 800-836-7566 and mypillow.com/RSBN. 80% off just about everything. This is over 2,000 products, and if you sign up for some of their alerts, my goodness, you'll get a lot of great deals. And he is, I don't know, probably the best marketer out there, maybe other than President Trump. I think after this second term, maybe The Apprentice 2 or some sort of sequel featuring President Trump and Mike Lindell. What do you think about that?
I think that'd be great. That'd be must-watch TV hearing from President Trump and Mike post the 47th presidency. So I'm thinking a series starting in 2029.
Right. I like that idea. I think they can teach us a lot about business. They've put their heart where it matters, and it's caring for the American people, but also delivering really great products, including those Giza sheets. Oh,
exactly.
Best.
And also, how about it being exclusively on Right Side Broadcasting Network, the new Apprentice 2.0? You never know.
Yeah. So it's a great production idea. We'll toss it on out there.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. All right. So 9:24 Eastern Time, getting ready to go to the International Religious Freedom Summit. You were talking about Mike Lindell and the fact that he wears a cross, right? And we see that from various people. It's great to, have that freedom of speech and freedom of religion, expression, that kind of thing. And also, since this is a religious, freedom summit, I was also thinking about, the church in America right now. And what we want, of course, is as much peace and prosperity for our country and people to have faith and that kind of thing. And it's always good to come together as a community. On the flip side of that, in one way or another, there are, and we've seen it, and this is going to touch a nerve with some people, maybe, but there are some pastors, not all pastors. We know there are great pastors and people out there that are doing great things. But there are those that are, and some famous ones, would rather enrich themselves off of the people that are going to the church, off of and selling a certain kind of whatever kind of doctrine it is.
Right.
And then they enrich themselves and they go and do all this stuff with the people's money. Just like there's corruption in government, I believe there's corruption in some of the church, not all of it. Who am I to say that? I mean, I've been on a lot of mission trips. I have my faith. I've had my walk, my ups and downs like any human, right?
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, one thing that has always irked me and did not make Jesus very happy either in the Bible is when people would be making money off of the gospel.
Right.
It's good to give money and donate to help people, of course. But if it's going to line a pastor's pocket, that is not right. That is anti-Bible, and I know that I'm preaching to the choir to a lot of people that are saying, amen, actually. That's true. Not all pastors, of course, but the ones that enrich themselves off of the gospel, from the people's money that are hard-working, honest people thinking they're doing the right thing, giving to God, and then the pastor just puts the money in the pocket,
right,
and goes and spends it all on their own stuff. Not very cool.
While preaching a prosperity gospel. And we've seen that's been a problem, and without naming names of certain pastors, some through the South, some through the North, but we've had that happen for sure, and that's why it's so important to read and watch the documentary The American Church by Eric Metaxas, and he has great people on like Charlie Kirk and Dennis Prager who are plugged into the culture, plugged into Judeo-Christian values, and two problems. I think the one is the prosperity gospel. The other is that the wolves are in sheep's clothing. We've seen the Marxists infiltrate the church. I think the greatest example lately was the fake bishop at the National Cathedral. It was unnecessary, it was rude, but it was also non-biblical. And my question for her is, okay, you want to take this in the sense of President Trump is attacking the refugee. Nothing could be further from the truth, because the invader that came in is harming the citizen, is attacking a fellow Bible believer. So if you truly believe in the word, wouldn't you care about what happened to Laken Riley? Wouldn't you care about what happened to her family? Wouldn't you want to take them in? What about Jocelyn Nungary? What about Rachel Moore and the 37-year-old beautiful woman, mother of 5, the same fate that Laken faced, out for a jog in the afternoon? No woman in America should have to fear taking a jog outside, especially when the sun is out, and to have such a terrible final moment. And my heart just breaks for these people, and including that today, the Laken Riley Act that was signed into law by President Trump, with this transgender action that he's taking on the EOs, on also the 2 genders, today with this new law, perhaps we'll see Riley gains there, because these people who have worked towards dignity for women, that's what we want in this country. And somehow, remember the Me Too movement? It's almost as if the people on the left forgot about that. It's almost insulting for men to cross-dress and then to go into the locker rooms of who is truly the most precious, our women. We should protect them, especially as men in this country. So I'm going on a little bit of a rant here, but it's upsetting to see some in authority who are truly wolves in sheep's clothing taking on this moral mantle of you should do it this way, and President Trump's a monster, when he's just trying to save the country using common sense.
And not only that, then she should direct her comments to the Viktor Orban of Hungary, or the leader of Poland, or El Salvador, or Argentina, or Nigel Farage, or all of these people that are awake and have woken up or have been awake for decades. And so that's what we're seeing out there. So, we only want to share our commentary and analysis in various points like that, because at the end of the day, we hear from other people that are on point too. So it's a lot of red pilling going on, and we love the red pill here at the network.
We do. It's all about being awake, not woke, because we know if you go woke, you go broke. And you've seen how many companies now, even Meta now sponsoring this International Religious Freedom Summit. So many people coming to the side of common sense just in the last few months, and welcome to the team. This is a broad coalition to make America great again, and it's not necessarily Republican and Democrat, as we talk about here at the network. It's we the people. It's all of the above. It's yes and. We want to make that difference by adhering to law and order and the Bill of Rights, given to us by God through our founders nearly 250 years ago.
100% correct. It's 9:30, bottom of the hour, getting ready to see the Vice President there at the International Religious Freedom Summit. Before we go, let's talk about Colonial Metals Group. Of course, a great sponsor at the network. All you have to do is go to freegoldguide.com/RSBN. So freegoldguide.com, you can get this info kit.
Oh, a great kit for you. Scan that QR code right now. Shield your savings, because whether you have properties or assets or even a 401k or IRA, you might want to roll over or transfer some of those into the time-tested standard of gold, silver, and precious metals. This, no matter what the government is, no matter who's in charge through the centuries, these have been true things to hold in your hand and say, I have value here, that I can protect me and my family. It makes no difference if it's 1636 or if it's 2025. So it has stood the test of time, and it's your best bet against the scourge of inflation.
Colonial Metals Group, an awesome sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, 9:31 Eastern. Get ready to see the Vice President here at any minute. Also, the bottom right screen, important to point that out. Obviously, the live shot of the Capitol, actually the White House. My point is that later today at 1 o'clock, we will have the press briefing. At 3 o'clock, an executive order signing in the East Room. So we're seeing the East Room a lot right now at the White House. We'll have all of that live coverage coming up a bit later today. So stick with Right Side Broadcasting Network, RSBN Live, as we continue to bring you live stories. And also, if you just missed it, we had an interview at about 9:15, interviewing Matt McCaw of the Greater Idaho Movement. So if you don't know what that is, you might want to replay our broadcast a little bit later or look it up online. But there's a lot of different kinds of stories going on out there. People are affected in different ways, and regardless, if you are a liberal and you are saying, hey, you know what, help me out with this, we'll look at the story, we'll see if it's something that would benefit the American people, and we'll do a story. At the end of the day, this is about we the people, all people across this country, but we know that this is conservative media. Of course, you know where we're coming from at the end of the day, but still helping we the people in any way we can, especially if it's a legal, great, right thing to do that would align with making America great again.
Well, and even Van Jones commented on this back in the first term, that President Trump stole the Democrat playbook. He had people like Kim Kardashian who were very passionate about criminal justice reform. And what did President Trump do? He did just that. He pardoned people and commuted sentences of low-level drug crimes and really righted wrongs that were really racial in nature. And if you look at someone like Kamala Harris, when she was the DA in San Francisco, she put so many people behind bars who could not afford an attorney, who could not fight back on these low-level marijuana crimes. Then she brags about it on Charlemagne the God show regarding how she enjoys to smoke marijuana from time to time. So talk about some liberal privilege.
Exactly. Wow. It's just wild to see that. And also, if you are just joining us, we spoke about how much what President Trump has gone through over the past 4 years and the historic speed and strength which he is working at. So obviously he's overcome a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So he's literally going all out for the American people and the free world right now. Mm-hmm. Let's highlight some of the things, of course, you guys know, but just to bring more context to that statement about going all out. And then, of course, we'll go to the vice president as soon as we see him there and as soon as that event gets started in D.C. Obviously, the lawfare and J13 and the constant, back in the day, the impeachments, the hoaxes, all the attacks, not only through the fake news press, but just on and on and on. We'll talk about that in a bit. Let's go there live right now to D.C.
It's great to be here this morning, and I hope you guys are having a successful conference. I will say there is a certain irony in speaking on the topic of religious liberty, because my 7-year-old who is not in school today was forced to come to work with his dad and feels that his liberties are being threatened at this very moment. So he's backstage, probably not watching the speech, hopefully watching cartoons, but I appreciate you all having me. And I want to give a special note of thanks, of course, to Ambassador Sam Brownback, my dear friend, to Katrina Lantos Sweat, Peter Burns, and other faith leaders, government officials, and, of course, many survivors of religious persecution. Thank you all for convening and participating in this summit, which is on a topic whose importance, unfortunately, grows with each passing moment, and hopefully our new administration can help. Now, please be seated. I always feel weird when people are standing up to hear me speak. It's not going to be that good, ladies and gentlemen. You can have a seat. Religious freedom, of course, is the freedom to practice one's own faith and act according to one's own conscience. And it's, of course, the bedrock of civil society in the United States of America and across the world. We know in America faith nurtures our communities. At home and abroad, it fosters a love for one's neighbors. It inspires generosity and service. It calls us to treat one another with dignity, to lift up those in need, and to build nations grounded in moral principle. In America, our founding fathers rightly recognized this, listing freedom of religion first among the liberties enshrined in our great Constitution. Before he was